Good evening, everybody. I am Dennis Spillman. I'm your host tonight for this panel discussion of art and victory. And now I am going to let these lovely folks introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Ashley J. Mandanis, and I am a non-binary local Oklahoman actor, theater maker, dancer, singer, performer.
I'm Adam Brands, along with my wife Jenny Brands. We run and operate and organize the Theatre Crude Fringe Festival that happens in Oklahoma City in October every year.
All right. And for this episode of Art and Victory, we are going to talk about making your own fringe theater production, which you kind of think of as kind of minimalist theater in a way. But how would you describe fringe to our viewers?
Fringe is the type of theater where you have an idea and you just go for it. We're less concerned about big productions, so when you think of Broadway, we're the opposite of that. You know, you're not going to have a whole bunch of flashing bells and whistles. Story is key, and trying new things and exploring new ideas, that's what Fringe is all about.
Well, let's talk about some of the ideas that you have explored in your theatrical production. So, for this part, I'd like to get a little to dive a little bit deeper and getting to know some of your backgrounds, your theatrical backgrounds. I know you're all very talented people. You do a million things, just like myself. But let's kind of dive into. Tell me some of the shows and things that you've been a part of.
I've been doing theater for about 21, 22 years since I was 7 years old, and I'm 29 now. And I've done upwards of 250 productions, some of them professional, amateur, fringe, regional, you name it. And the shows that I have done for Theatre Crude in the past several years that they have been active in Oklahoma have been a range of anything from a burlesque, like Through the Ages show, or a show based in multimedia projections and all the different things that you can try to fit in storytelling, based in tech and media, and just a lot of things in between. Because right now I'm working on something with co-arts for the upcoming Theatre Crude Festival. That's going to be something we don't even know yet. We haven't even created it yet. We're devising it as I speak. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with Fringe specifically, and a lot of different things that you can do with very little resources around you.
Because most of the time you don't even need a script
Yeah.
sometimes. Just you can improv is also could be consider that. A lot of I've seen shows rely heavily on audience suggestion. Even magic shows have
Oh,
been
yeah.
a thing. So the limit is quite endless. Again, very little money is needed, if any. But we would like to talk about. All right, so let's say for our audience, you have an idea, but you don't know exactly how to translate that idea into a theatrical production. So, what are some of the steps to kind of like flesh out that idea into an actual show?
For the most part, you just got to get started. As humans, we like to sit around and keep it in our brain and go, I can't tell anybody until I've solved all of it and it's perfect. It's not going to be perfect the first time. And as soon as you recognize that and just get that first draft out there, get it in front of some people, the whole process starts moving.
Perfection is the enemy of good.
An idea is like a seed, right? You have to grow it from its beginning stages, and how you do that is you basically decide how you want to tell the story. And you could put any number of fences or boxes around this seed to kind of hone it in to create the kind of storytelling that you want to affect audiences with. And that could be anything from, you could just give a prompt that people will improv for the whole show, and it could just be for one prompt. Or you could create, a theme that you go with. My burlesque show was Burlesque Through the Ages, so we had basically numbers of burlesque that went through decades, 10 decades, and that, showed a span of the journey of burlesque through time. And then also you could just get together with friends and decide like what you want to tell a story about, and through talking with each other and making sure everybody's voice is heard, you can have a collaborative effort that ends up being a bunch of different voices telling the same story in the same space. So you can really put any kind of box around the story that you want to tell, that seed, and it'll grow how you want it to. But you have to have a foundation and a box to put it in.
Now, building that foundation, sometimes things don't go as planned.
Right.
I'd like to dive into some learning experiences that you've both had that where things just didn't go right. But I'd also like to learn, how you pivoted on some of those challenges if you faced on some shows.
Sure. Our very first festival back in 2019, we could not find a venue anywhere. The whole concept of Fringe theater was so brand new, and we're like, we can do this anywhere. We just need an empty space to do this theater thing. But you'd be surprised how difficult it is to find somebody who's just like, oh yeah, go ahead, use my shop for a week, do your weird theater. But we just kept at it. We kept asking people. Eventually, we found a wedding venue up at 50th and Lincoln. I was like, yeah, sure, come on in, do your theater. So in that way, totally unexpected that somebody would be like, weird theater, why do you want to do that here? But we just kept at it, found it, made it happen.
One of the fantastic things with Fringe theater and just minimalist production shows is you can really go into untraditional places and put on a show. I did a production in a coffee shop, and it was a blast, and it was great. We even kind of like riffed on the fact that we were in a coffee shop in the show. So you can really take your show anywhere. You don't have to necessarily, submit it to the Fringe Festival, although we hope you do. But you can really take your show anywhere. Actually, you've been in quite a few places. You've done stuff in like planetariums, and what have been some unusual venues for you that you've worked with?
Yes, the planetarium at the Science Museum was one of the places that I was in a show. But really, theater can be done anywhere, as we've discussed. And I feel like rather than talking about like all the places that I've been, because there's so many, and I could talk about that for hours, but you can make theater with very little material. If you know what I'm saying, you don't have to have a lot of props. Things can be mimed, things can be implied. You don't have to have a lot of set design. Things can be, anything that you can put in your imagination can be given to the audience in that same way, where they can have it in their imagination as well. As long as you very clearly establish your world and establish the way that things are handled in the world of your story, you can take something anywhere and have it be effective. That is, I think, the secret to doing Fringe quickly and with any idea that you have. It's not necessarily about the production value, it's about the mobility of your production, like where you can take it, how quickly you can put it up, how quickly you can take it down, and how many people are involved. Because a lot of the times we've done Fringe, there's really been only like 4, 5, 6 people involved in the whole production, including tech crew. And that's been what's been most successful for me.
What are your thoughts on like maybe deciding to do comedy and seriousness and blending them together? What do you think kind of works best for audience? Or how do you even find your audience in that sense?
Gosh, I mean, that is part of it. Like knowing who your audience is a big part of finding the, like Ashley was saying, the box that you're going to plant that seed in. That is part of the constraint that you're starting from. Is who is this for? And then focusing on what that story is and how you're going to get it to that audience. So, I mean, I say that, and then the other thing is like, don't worry about it too much, because somebody likes the things that you like too. And if you're telling your story true to yourself and the way you want to tell it, people are going to pick up on that, and they're going to start vibing with it, and they're going to be along for the ride. So it's not being shy, not feeling like you need to make something a certain way. We talk a lot about the story circle. Like everybody's heard about the story circle by now. Throw that out. Just like stomp on it, get it out of here. You don't need that unless you're making like a big budget Hollywood movie. Follow your own path. It could be a story figure 8, story squiggle, whatever you got to do. I rambled a long time there. Hopefully there was something that made sense in that.
That was really great.
There's a weirdo out there for you.
There's a weirdo out there for you. And also on that, like when I say like you have to put a box around it. I don't mean you have to fit it into a box. I don't mean you have to fit it into a cookie cutter version of what a story
Yeah.
is or what you think it is.
Defining the
Just-
space so you have a place to start.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like it could just even mean as something as simple as the story is not going to be linear, or the story is going to be told on a mountain, or the story is going to like anything that you can establish early on will keep the story clear and will keep it being something that is able to be understood and felt by your audience. But I'm really passionate about, like, a story is a wonderful thing, but it's nothing if nobody can hear it or understand it. And the main thing with theater especially is knowing with clarity and delivering with clarity what you want to deliver. If it's something that's just like you want to be absurdist and you want to create nonsense theater, that's awesome, go for it. But know what you're doing when you get started. Something that my group Co-Arts right now that I'm a part of devising a show for Theatre Crude is doing right now is we go on a couple of retreats where it's a 3-day retreat that we just work and bond together and write and create. And one of the things that we do very early is define what story we want to tell, if it's going to be linear or nonlinear, and how many people we want to be performing in it versus how many people we want to write in it. It's a 10-person team. So that's just 3 things that we have put our seed in, the box of, the 3 things that we've planted. So now going forward, it's all about refining and it's all about clarifying.
So I'd like to dive, because sometimes with minimalist productions, like if you have more people, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can be a challenge too. So what are some tips do you like to give to people that are maybe working with their friends, maybe working with people that they don't know, on how to like better get along with each other?
Oh yeah. Something that I've found is really helpful is just doing non-work activities together, bonding over creating a meal and sharing that meal. Something with Co-Arts is that they've been doing is in the retreats they've been doing 2 hours of like activity time, just like bonding over a board game or painting or just watching a movie together, and then taking the time to have a meal together, and then taking the time to discuss what you want to work on, taking time apart from people to work together, taking time apart from people to work on your own, and then coming back and sharing those ideas. And from that, there's a lot of not only camaraderie, but there's so many creative juices that come from community and knowing each other, rather than just having all your time together be spent on work. Because then that becomes grading and it becomes a chore and then it becomes work. With Fringe especially, because it's not something that a lot of money is usually involved in, you want to make sure that it's something that's feeding your soul and something that is enjoyable and worth it for you to do. 1, so you don't burn out, and 2, so that you're living a life that is like true to what you want to be creating. And I think Fringe is one of the most important things we have because, in late stage capitalism, we have so many productions that are just wanting to get the most people in at the highest ticket prices. And that's great. I love that because it gives everybody theater. Maybe some people that wouldn't normally have theater, it gives theater to them. But Fringe is really for the community, I think. And it's for artists to have a passionate voice about something they want to tell in a story. And without a lot of money, without a lot of time, you can. You absolutely can. Even in one day, you could create something. So I wanna encourage you, even if you just have an idea in your head right now that you haven't shared with somebody, you can absolutely begin to talk to your friends about it and begin to spread it around and say, is anybody interested in telling this story with me? I bet you'll find people. And I bet that'll be the beginning of a really, really cool journey that'll affect a lot of people in a really fulfilling way.
That's really beautiful. Do you have anything else you want to add?
I don't know how I could follow that. That was amazing. I got chills.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. No, Fringe is totally all about exploration and trying new things, and there is no safer space to fall flat on your face. I'm not saying that you're going to, but sometimes it happens, and there's going to be a community of people there who want to see you take that risk and want to see you leap off of that cliff, and they're going to be down there at the bottom They may not catch you, but they're definitely going to pick you up and brush you off and tell you, hey, the next time is going to be great. And actually, while you were falling, you did some pretty dope ass flips.
Yeah.
So, Fringe, do it. Just whatever is. Yeah, it's about the passion. It's not about. It's not the capitalist thing. I'm babbling again.
I think we can all say that we've all had our share of failures, but we've always learned from them. And I think that's really important to take away is that, maybe not everything, maybe you only have 5 people that show up in your show. I mean, those 5 people showed up, and those 5 people matter. But what words of encouragement would you like to give to people who might be still scared or might be on the fence about taking this bold attempt into making their own Fringe show?
I think that fear is a big factor in, being vulnerable and sharing a story, a seed from your own mind. Anything in life that is difficult, anything that's hard or scary, I believe is going to be worth it. If you even have an iota of wanting or desire to share a story, it will be worth it to share it. No matter how you share it, even if you just write it down, and it could be a stream of consciousness, it's there. You've made it tangible out in the world, and it can only fall forward from there. And I say fall forward because a lot of people are afraid of failure, a lot of people are afraid of falling, but as long as you're falling and failing forward, as long as you're creating, a path in the dirt from where you're falling, you are moving in a progressive direction. There's no way that you can fail and not have learned something and grown from it. A lot of times when I was beginning as an artist, there were so many times where I would audition and I would feel horrible about it, and I would always remember things I could have done better, and I would do them better the next time. And it's the nature of failure and the nature of, I think, art as a skill. Because a lot of people think, oh, art is just something you do for fun or like a hobby, and it is fun and it can be a hobby, but storytelling and art, specifically at the Fringe level, is a kind of a skill. And the more that you practice at it, the more that you do it, the better you will get, I guarantee you. Even if you're not progressing in a linear way, you are building skills and building community. I don't see anything bad about that at all. Honestly, nothing negative about that.
I've been doing travel videos for 15 years, and I feel like I'm still learning new things.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still pivoting and making different creative choices. So there's always room for growth.
Mm-hmm.
And having that growth mindset is really a valuable tool. I feel like we've covered quite a lot of ground just in this short amount of time. So I'd like to leave it up to you two. Anything else you want to share to kind of help people in their journey of making their own production?
Fringe is the starting line. That's what I got to say. If you've got the idea, this is the place to do it. There's no downside whatsoever. You get to tell your story the way you want to tell it, and start it growing. And after you perform it in front of an audience a few times and get it out there, who knows what else it'll become. But the future is so bright. So, gosh, that's like the core thing that I could say is you have to start. If you've got the idea, stop worrying about it being perfect. Stop worrying about what other people are going to think. Speak true to yourself, speak true to your story, do it in whatever weird way you want to, and Fringe will accept it, and Fringe will embrace it, and Fringe audiences are going to cheer you on.
Fringe loves all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And to anyone who's like, oh, I could never, you are putting that into the universe, and you will never if you don't. And so the only person stopping you is you. I know that I was really anxious about getting involved with Fringe because it is such a nebulous thing. It isn't like, here's a stage manager and not often, but it isn't like, here's a stage manager and here's your schedule and here's a script and here's your rehearsal dates and your performance dates. It's not all set in stone for you. The nebulous part of it, in that you could really do anything, is scary and it's difficult to navigate. But something that you can do is create a schedule for yourself and think about it in terms of what I want to have done at what points in time, and that might help you get started. Because if you're just like looking at, oh, I have to write the script and do the show, when, how, why, with whom, that's really scary. But if you start with a schedule, if you even just like write it down on a calendar, or I put mine in my phone, like even if you don't adhere to that schedule, that's a starting point to jump off of. And also, like, the fear of telling your story to somebody for fear that, you know, people won't relate, or people won't like it, or you'll fail in whatever way failure means to you. If you don't tell your story, no one can ever relate to it. If you don't put it out into the world, no one will hear or understand or have a chance to relate to what you want to say. So for Fringe, give people that chance. And sorry, I'm talking for a long time, but I want to say that, like, yeah, I didn't touch the mic.
It's very hard not to touch
It's
your
very
mic
hard not to
sometimes.
touch the mic.
You'll notice I'm like clasping my hands down on my side the whole time. Just like keep them here.
I'm very like, I do this a lot.
Yes,
But
I'm with you. You've seen my hands flailing all night long too.
okay, the last thing that I wanted to say is that, like, Fringe can be as simple as, you know, having a couple of friends and knowing that you want to tell the same story and just like riffing over a couple of beers one night and writing something down, and then you could even just do a staged reading of what you have written down. You know, it could even be improvised. And you just show up, you come into the theater, you do your show, and then you're done. It's simple.
The super benefit as well that I will point out of the Theatre Crude Fringe Festival is that you don't need to have a completed project when you apply. In order to be accepted to the festival, you just have to have a really good sales pitch. So if you know what story you want to tell, but you haven't started on it yet, if you tell us how awesome your idea is and we are into it, we will be the motivator to get you started, because now you have an audience that's waiting for you.
And then you have a space of time with which you can put out your timeline, with which you can have time to create the story, have time to rehearse it if you need rehearsals, and then you have a set of dates to do the show.
Nothing
That's
motivates
incredible.
like a deadline.
Yeah.
Nothing motivates like a deadline. All right. Well, again, I'd like to thank you two for taking the time to chat with us, our lovely audience here at Sailor and Dock here in Oklahoma City. Before we go, I'd like for you two to plug whatever you are working on. So tell me, what are you working on? What can viewers and audience members expect to see from you in the future?
From me, you'll mostly see us. Theatre Crude does a monthly event at OK Cider Co. here in Film Row, very close to Sailor in the Dock. So check our website or social media, Theatre Crude, for those dates and what's going on. It's all very fun, fresh, fringy kind of things that we do. Outside of that, Southern Plains season is coming up, and they always do really good stuff. I'm not personally involved, but I can't just go see whatever they're doing. They're good. They're real good.
Ashley, shows?
Yeah, on top of that, I am going to be involved in the Southern Plains season. They're doing Rent, which I'm not involved in, but go get tickets. It's going to be awesome. I'm doing Dance Nation by Claire Barron with Southern Plains Productions, and that is basically a play about, if you've ever seen Dance Moms, it's about one of those dance troupes, a group of 13-year-old girls, but none of them are played by 13-year-old girls. I'm one of them. So it's really, it's like a really cool look into that sort of microcosm of like stress and competition, but with people of all ages and genders. All ages and genders. All Asians and genders. But then also I'm doing Lyric Summer Season. I'm going to be playing Mrs. Brill in Mary Poppins and Charlotte in Cinderella, which is going to be a collaboration with Lyric and Deaf Austin Theater. And they are infusing the show with ASL, American Sign Language. I'm so excited to be doing this show. If you saw Southern Plains do Silent Sky, that had some ASL in it as well, but this is a whole nother level of ASL infusion into the show. And then I'm performing in Lyric's Broadway Bash coming up, I think June 7th. Don't quote me on that. But it's a great way to support lyric theater. And it's going to be Moulin Rouge themed. So hope to see you there.
Both got some exciting things coming up. And I would like to thank you for watching this episode of Art and Victory. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And hope to see you at the next event. Good night, everyone.